with Rory, it's always going to come back to the majors, and we're always going to talk about the drought. Does this change the way you think about 2025 as a whole in terms of those 4 events? And, you think about Rory, I think it was last year, he said, I've won everything else. I mean, I've won FedEx Cups and I've won Players Championships. I've won all over the world. I've won the biggest events on the DP World Tour. I just haven't won the majors. Does this change anything in terms of what you expect or what you hope to see from Rory in the majors?
He's been so good in major championships the last handful of years. And I think that's what's often lost with Rory McIlroy is, during that prime, even though, like I mentioned, I think this is the best version of Rory McIlroy, but in his early 30s, late 20s, for how good he was, he did not give himself nearly enough chances at major championships.
Yep.
And so
he blew 2 fields out, like when he was just like, hey, I'm way better than everybody else here. I mean, he won 2 majors by 16 shots combined. And it's like a lot of the other times he'd kind of step on the gas and take it out late. But I think you're right. It's like it was either talent took him to the finish line or he would not really be kind of hanging around.
Yeah, it was like the king of the backdoor top 5.
Always.
Like
Wikipedia, baby.
The most predictable Sunday performance. Let me take the under on Rory McIlroy's score when he starts at T17, T22, or something like that. And so I think his major performances have been awesome these last handful of years, just giving himself a chance multiple times per year, it seems like, especially at the U.S. Open. He's turned into a great U.S. Open competitor also. And I think what is encouraging about this player's performance and his first 2.5 months of the year is, like we mentioned, just how well-rounded it is and how it seems like he can get away without his best stuff and keep himself in the tournament. And for as good as he's been at U.S. Opens and the Open, that has hindered him at Augusta National, where when he doesn't have his best stuff, it just seems like it's over for him. We're 2 hours into Thursday morning and Rory McIlroy is already out of this golf tournament.
He's like 3 over on Thursday and you're like, dude, what's going on? Like, what are we doing? This isn't what we want to see.
Yeah, it's like you shot 29 on the back nine in your practice round yesterday. That was 12 hours ago. What happened between then and now? And so I think that's the cause for excitement, where I think he can get through those stretches at Augusta National where before he might not have been able to.
Are we going to see him before the Masters? I was kind of going through the schedule. Like, what does he play before Augusta? I mean, what are we 3 weeks away?
Yeah, so I heard a while ago that he was going to play Houston.
Okay.
And then after he said he was going to add a Texas event, I think it's going to be Houston instead of San Antonio.
Okay. I mean, I think I kind of go both ways. I'm like, you don't want to go 3 weeks off, but you did just play some pretty compelling golf, and you obviously are going in with a lot of confidence. It's like, if you go play Houston and you finish 18th, does that do anything, for you in terms of what you're going into? Like, you probably need the reps, and it's probably smart to play. But I almost kind of wish he wouldn't. Like, I almost kind of wish he would just take the time off. What did he say on Wednesday? He said he's been home like 1 week this year or something. It's crazy. He's played so much golf. It's like the fact that he does get a little bit of time, I guess, quote unquote, off, and he could go like practice, maybe work on the driver a little bit. I would be okay if Rory took a little bit of time off. But I mean, like, all of this stuff leads to Augusta. And I think that's what's so fun about the Players being in March is, like, it would be a bit of a slog kind of following Riviera until we got to the Masters. And the fact that we have this big event and you could see kind of the best in the world outside of the live guys going head to head. I mean, the fact that, you get a Rory win here. I mean, now he's won twice, right? First time he's ever done that lead into the Masters, and they've both been compelling and different victories. I mean, I would have to say this is the most confident I've been in terms of Rory's potential to win a green jacket since, like, 2011, 2012? Like, this feels like it to me.
Yeah, and you look at the Masters the last half decade, it's rewarded the best player in the world, the guy who's playing the best golf leading up. DJ in 2020, Hideki's kind of the outlier there. And then you roll with Scheffler twice and Rahm. And going into Augusta as it stands, it could be Joaquin Niemann in some circles.
Well, obviously. I mean, number one player in the world. Yeah,
that goes without saying. So this might go against Rory. But that is Rory McIlroy at this point. So I totally agree with you. And I think just the hesitation if there is one, there's always some with Rory going into the Masters is don't try to switch things up. We see it
Don't Uber in any other clubs. Like let's just use what we're using.
You don't need a helicopter Rotella in late Wednesday night. You don't need to switch to Scotty Cameron Newport.
No.
In Houston, because you need
to
be more creative on the greens. You don't need to play 1,000 practice holes or fly in late. Like, just do what you're doing, and believe that's going to be good enough.
Would you give this players like an A? I mean, I know Rory winning is a big deal, and I think that obviously when you look back on this in 2 or 3 years, you'll be like, oh yeah, remember second players for Rory. I think the lack of the big names involved in it late, like basically late Saturday into Sunday, Morikawa, like I said, was hanging around, but it was kind of Rory versus, those players that are having those weeks, right? JJ Spawn and Bud Cauley. I mean, Akshay being around was cool, I thought, for a bit. Was this a good players to you? Was this an okay players to you? Like Monday finishes, I think sometimes while they are fun, and I love the 3-hole aggregate at the players, sometimes the Monday can feel like a little bit of like a post St. Patrick's Day hangover. Like, did you love this?
I hate rain delays, and I know they can't do anything about that. Oh my God, it was forever. Oh. And it makes it worse that they start early, so you're up at 8 a.m. tuning in, and so you're just like 12 hours of this, and then you wake up early the next morning to watch the playoff. And so it would have been awesome if they finished on Sunday. It probably would have gotten an A rating for me, maybe A- because of the lack of big names like you mentioned. But I'm a sucker for those storylines. Danny Walker, a server at what was it, Bahama Breeze or something. Yeah. Bud Cauley and his story as well, getting in the field on Monday. Danny Walker was the last guy in too. And Akshay, a young guy like him, battling back from that performance on Saturday. I love all those storylines, but I can see without the Scotties, without Colin really making a move, why some people wouldn't have liked it as much. So I have it in a B range because of the rain delay and the Monday finish and everything like that. But I thought it was great.